I hear constantly right now from executives, from project leads, from change practitioners. They ask me, we know AI is changing everything, we just don't know what to do about it. And that tension between the speed of AI and the pace of organizational change is exactly what the conversation today is going to be about. I'm Joanne Gallagher, founder and CEO of SOAR LLC, where we specialize in project management and organizational change management and consulting. I've spent 25 years helping organizations navigate large scale transformations, and I've never seen anything move this fast.
And I'm Sanjay Katti, AI specialist and founder of SK Solutions. I work with organizations on the technology side, helping them actually implement AI, the strategy, the tool, and the integration. What Joanne said is exactly right. The technology is ready. In many cases, it's already deployed. But the organizations using it, often they are not ready. And that gap between what the technology can offer and what the organization can absorb, that's where everything goes sideways.
And Sanjay, this is the whole conversation we want to have today. AI is here. That part isn't a debate anymore. The question is, does your organization experience this as a transformation that you're leading or chaos that's happening to you? By the end of this episode, we want to shift how you're thinking about that question. Sanjay, before we get into what organizations should do, let's make sure people are clear on what is actually happening, because I think there's still a lot of fuzzy thinking about AI. What are you seeing on the ground?
Joanne, you are hitting the nail on the head. There is a lot of noise, and it stems from a fundamental misunderstanding. People are conflating the automation of a task with automation of a job. To get past this fuzzy thinking, we have to look at the granular shift happening at a real time. Let me give you 3 concrete snapshots of how this is actually manifesting. First, consider finance and planning teams. A year ago, their analysts spent first 4 days of every month manually aggregating, cleaning, and formatting the data from disparate regions. Now, they are using AI to perform that first pass analysis. The tool reconciles the data and flags the anomalies. The human isn't replaced. They are simply migrated from being a data janitor to an insight provider. They spend their time questioning the why behind the numbers instead of just organizing the spreadsheet. Second, look at the legal and the compliance side of the organization. We are seeing teams implementing AI-driven document review system that scans massive amount of internal policies and the repositories. Instead of a junior associate spending hours hunting for the right clause in the 300-page contract document, AI produces that result in seconds. Now, the junior associate acts as an editor and a risk validator rather than search engine.
Uh-huh.
And third, think about customer operation. We are seeing companies move away from the basic scripted chatbot to agentic AI workflows. The AI just doesn't answer a FAQ. It initiates the background action, like processing a return or updating an order status. That previously required a team of 3 people to manually verify and execute. The key thing I did highlight is this: it's not that jobs are disappearing overnight, it's that the job is changing underneath people while they are still doing it. The task shift, the skills that matter shift. And if no one has helped that individual to understand what or why that is happening, that's where you get a resistance, disengagement, and failed adoption.
That last point you made, Sanjay, is everything. What you're describing isn't really an AI problem, it's a change problem. And when people's roles shift, then the tools that they rely on are replaced. When a process they've done for 10 years gets automated, that's a significant change event. It triggers uncertainty. It also triggers a loss of identity in some cases. And organizations that treat the technology deployment as the finish line rather than the starting line, well, they're going to struggle. The work model is shifting, but that means the change model has to shift with it.
Mhm.
Sanjay, I want to go somewhere that might be uncomfortable for some listeners because the data on AI initiative failure is not good. We know from change management research that about 70% of large scale transformation initiatives don't meet their intended outcomes. We also know that the primary reason is almost never the technology, it's the people side. So, my question to you, Sanjay, why do so many AI implementations fail? And how much of that is actually a change management problem in disguise?
Joanne, that is $1 million question. If I look at where these initiatives struggle, it almost always comes to a failure to integrate human expert. To visualize what happens when that goes wrong, right? Consider a government agency implementing an AI driven eligibility engine. The tech was accurate in the sandbox, but it failed the moment it hit the field. The system was designed as a black box that bypassed caseworker rather than empowering them. When the AI made an error, like misinterpreting a residency document, the experienced caseworker were given no choice to override the decision or account for the nuance. Feeling their expertise were sidelined, the staff lost trust and reverted back to keeping parallel paper records to correct the system, effectively nullifying the efficiencies gained. The technology performed well technically, but effort struggled because it treated human experts as obstacle rather than partners. This is where the concept of human in the loop becomes non-negotiable. Human in the loop is a design philosophy that keeps expert at the center of the process. There are three main initiatives within the human in the loop concept. The first one is division of labor. AI handles the routine processing around 80% of the cases, while the human handles the edge cases, ethics, and nuances, which constitutes to 20% of the cases. The second aspect of human in the loop is validation layer. The human reviews, validates, or corrects the AI output before it becomes a final decision. And the third and final one, which is very crucial, human corrections are fed back in the system, teaching the AI to improve based on the real world expert. By keeping human in the loop, you maintain accountability, build trust, and ensure the system learns from the experts instead of ignoring them. What I have what I have come to believe is that the technology deployment is maybe around 30% of the work. The other 70% is adoption. The most technology teams, including mine, are trained for the 30%. We are not always equipped for the 70%.
And, that's exactly where OCM comes in, not as a soft afterthought, but as a discipline that's as rigorous and structured as the technology implementation itself. So when we talk about change management in an AI context, we're talking about stakeholder engagement from the beginning, not at the end, which we commonly see. Communications also. Communications that are honest and what the change is about and why. The other thing that you mentioned earlier was role design, actual work on what the people's jobs look like after AI is in. And then the training that goes beyond clicking buttons to building a real capability. So if you're leading an AI initiative right now and your OCM plan is a paragraph in a slide deck, you're at risk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Sanjay, let's flip the script for a moment. We've talked about what goes wrong. Let's talk about what great looks like. So, in your experience, when you've seen an AI initiative actually land well, what was the difference?
Joanne, when AI initiative lands well, it's because the organization treats it as an ongoing evolution rather than one-time software deployment. Success looks like an iterative adoption cycle where transparency isn't just a memo. It's a dialogue about why instead of a big bang launch that catches people off guard. These firms involve employees and code as a co-designer, allowing them to shape the workflow. This creates a sense of ownership where the staff doesn't feel replaced by technology. Rather than they feel empowered by it to focus on on the higher judgment tasks. The difference makers are clear governance and embedded organizational change management. Successful organizations integrate parallel upskilling and create a feedback loop that act as a daily pulse, allowing the AI to learn from the experts rather than just directing them. By making these systems dynamic and responsive to user input, they move from simply installing the software to enabling performance. Ultimately, these organizations treat AI adoption as a permanent operating rhythm, not a bolt on addition, ensuring change capability is baked into the DNA of the organizational culture. The organization that get this right treat AI adoption as ongoing rhythm, not a one-time event. They have change capability embedded, not bolted on.
I love that framing. Ongoing rhythm versus one time event. That's because AI is not a project that ends. It's a capability, I'm assuming, that evolves, which means that change management discipline can't be a project that ends either. And that's actually a significant shift at the way that we think about OCM. Historically, change management was attached to a discrete initiative. But with AI, you need a standing change function, one that can respond as the technology changes, as the workforce changes, as the business model changes. Sanjay, the Certified Change Management Professional Credential, the CCMP, actually brings and gives practitioners the framework to do exactly that. It's not a theory, it's a practice standard that holds up in a dynamic, fast moving environment. And that's why I think this moment is actually a huge opportunity for change management professionals. So, Sanjay, let's make this practical. If you're a business leader, a transformation lead, a decision maker, and you're listening to this right now, what should you actually do Monday morning? And let me start that. 3 things from the OCM side. The first thing I would do is audit your current AI initiatives for change coverage. Not the tech plan, rather the people plan. Who's affected? What do they know? What do they need? If you can't answer those questions, you have a gap. Secondly, I would bring OCM in at the beginning of your next AI initiative, not after go live, which is commonly the case. Stakeholder analysis, impact assessment, communication plannings, these are not post deployment activities. They have to run concurrently with the technology build. The third thing I would do is invest in your people's change capability, not just their AI literacy. Yes, people need to understand how to use AI tools, but they also need the skills to adapt when these tools change, and they will change. Business adaptability is as important as competency.
Joanne, you have laid out the OCM pillars perfectly. If I'm looking at the technology and the implementation roadmap, I did urge leaders to focus on 3 specific technical moves to ensure those OCM efforts are actually land. The first, reframe your use case inventory. Don't start with the AI tool you want to implement. Start with the business friction you need to resolve. Map your technical capabilities directly to specific painful bottleneck in your workflow. If you can't explicitly link a specific AI model or workflow to a measurable outcome, like you say, reducing the manual data reconciliation time by 20%, then don't build it yet. The technology must be served to solve the business problem, not the other way around. Second, hardcore feedback loops into system architecture. You cannot wait for a post-implementation review to find out that your model is not hitting the mark, right? So build a mechanism from day one where users can flag the inaccuracies or suggest improvement directly within the interface. This transforms the users from passive observers into active partners who are training the system while they work.
Mm-hmm.
Third, redefine your success matrix. Most tech team tracks go live dates and system uptime. That's the wrong scorecard. You need to track adoption velocity and task completion time. Are your people actually logging in? Are they using the tool to perform the task, or are they trying to find the workarounds? If you aren't measuring these indicators and human interactions with the system, then you are flying blind.
Mm.
And I I did like to add, don't don't try to boil the ocean. Pick 1 or 2 high value use cases, implement them well with the change management discipline, like Joanne was suggesting, and let those success build the organization confidence and capability to the next wave. Joanne, I want to close with something I truly believe in. AI is not the enemy of workforce. It's a multiplier. But like any multiplier, it amplifies what's already there. If
Hmm.
your organization has a clear direction, good communication, and capable people, AI makes it stronger. If you have a confusion and silos and poor adoption, AI amplifies that too. So the work of getting your organization ready for AI is the work of making your organization better. And that work has always about people.
And that's exactly why OCM is not optional in this moment. It's the discipline that makes the difference between transformation and chaos. AI is here. That's not the debate. The debate is, how does your organization meet it? So we believe, and I think everything we've talked about in today's show, is that when you combine AI expertise with change management, you just don't survive this, you lead it. And if today's conversation sparked something of interest to you, we'd love to continue at our session between Sanjay and me in July. We're going to go much deeper into the frameworks, into case studies, into what your organization can actually put into practice. And in the meantime, if you're curious about what change management looks like and your change management certification, please visit us at www.soar.llc. And thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Sanjay.